Okay, let's head into the papers now, see what the headlines are this morning. And I have with me in the studio a chartered accountant and public affairs analyst, Kehinde-Nwandu, as well as CEO, CKN News, Kehinde-Nwandu. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
And thank God it's Friday. All right, let's begin with the Blueprint newspaper now. Blueprint is where we start from. And it talks about the $9.6 billion judgment. We're guilty. P&ID representatives are saying this, and court orders firm forfeit assets to Nigeria. And Nigeria now has proof of fraud and graft, as Malami, the Minister of Justice, is saying this. All right, you see all that in the on the front page of the Blueprint. Okay, from there, let's go now to the News Direct. News Direct talks about anti-smuggling initiatives. CBN releases 146 billion naira to 849,000 rice farmers. That's the Central Bank of Nigeria is revealing this. And partners Niger State on dairy, and 14 governors pledge 100,000 or 100 billion naira fraud, land rather, to oil palm cultivation. Okay, that's what you see on the front page of the News Direct. Daily Trust is where you go next now, and how Buhari, Atiku, INEC spent billions at tribunal. We can defend our expenditure. APC is saying this. Battle for democracy doesn't come cheap. Atiku is saying this as well. So they all justify the billions that went down at the course of the court case against who really won the president, but certainly the result is out and everyone knows now. Moving ahead now to Daily Times, and it takes us back to the $9.6 billion judgment debt. Court orders forfeiture of P&ID's assets to federal government and firm accused of economic sabotage, money laundering, tax evasion, and pleads guilty to all the 11 charges. Okay, that's the Daily Times there. Now, the Nation newspaper is next, and it focuses and dwells on the same thing, the $9.6 billion judgment. A court liquidates P&ID, an affiliate. Firms forfeit assets to federal government, and Nigeria gets advantage, says AGF, and legal battle in UK next week. All right, the Nation newspaper there. The Vanguard is where we go next. P&ID is still on the same case. Nigeria bids to quash $9.8 billion award in UK court. And P&ID officials plead guilty to fraud charges. Court orders forfeiture of assets to Nigeria. That's what you see on the front page of the Vanguard. Nigerian coercing false testimony from our associates. P&ID alleges, and Fanana hails judgment. Nigeria's legal team meets in London. That's what you see, all of those stories on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. Now let's go to the Sun. The Sun will be the last one now, and it talks about the same thing, federal government floors UK firm and P&ID. Okay, gentlemen, I guess this will really interest you, because when this case came up, it raised a lot of eyebrows across, among Nigerians from across the world. How did government not look at this and not take action until this happened? But it seemed like in the first place, maybe due diligence was not was not taken into cognizance by the former government, where some negotiation was said to have gone on for out-of-court settlement and things like that. Does it seem obvious now that something went amiss? Let me start with you, Sheson.
Yes, Mike. You see, if I look critically at this thing, when it first started, I was part of the people that said, to me, I see it more as a scam, because it's quite funny that a government of a nation will embark on such a contract without due diligence. And when it came up that certain set of people were actually caught a bait on this particular thing, the only thing is we've dragged this thing. Our response rate to issues is always too slow. This that we are just doing now, it's not it. And we are full of deceit. Some of the people that we claim to be in government, if the last administration has succeeded in winning that election, we would have settled out of case with over $850 million. You can imagine what that the impact that we have on the economy of our nation. We keep saying, and that's why we keep telling people that we are not that poverty mentality like they claim to be. It's the mismanagement of funds and administration that is killing this nation. That is just the major problem that we have. If some of those things are done properly, due diligence that we claim that we normally do, every government official will claim that they do before they do. There are a lot of things that will still be opened up, not only on P&ID issue. There are a lot of things that people orchestrated thinking that it's a real deal and it's not.
Okay. Now, Chris, this case draws our attention to how Nigerians bring companies sometimes to, bid for contracts and sometimes are not done. Now, from representatives of the P&ID pleading guilty to 11 counts of tax evasion, money laundering, and all of that. What do you make of the concept of patriotism by Nigeria? Because certainly P&ID will not come without Nigerians bringing it.
Well, that's a fact. The fact remains that most often than not, just as it said rightly, is that we don't take into consideration due diligence in awarding contracts. Most often than not, it's a question of who I know, in government, and whose interest is being protected. There have been instances in Nigeria where contracts, billions of naira worth of contracts have been given to companies that don't even have CAC registration in this country. Yes. Some companies go pick up contracts worth billions and now start going to look register themselves and the rest of them. Some have also been, there have been instances where billions of naira worth of contracts have been given to organizations that just did the business name registration. You all now knows what the capacity of any organization that is not even a limited liability company and the rest of them. And the same thing happened under these circumstances. And apart from that, then on the part of government is our laxity in taking actions, preemptive actions when it becomes necessary. What we are doing now is what we ought to have done before. This couldn't have escalated to this point. And that brings me also, look at what happened a few weeks back when it comes to the issue of American visa and Nigerian visa and the rest of them. The American embassy and the American government, they have been trying to get across to our government for months for us to be able to sort this out. This, what you are charging is just too high. But the problem is that nobody within the government has been able to react to the letter or whatever information, and escalated to that point until American embassy or the American government took that, and within 2 days, what happened? We started reversing our. Yeah. So that is the problem. This is an eye opener. Over $9 billion. It's not a chicken change. We are just going back to the World Bank now by today's analysis to seek for $2.something billion. And we are going to forfeit them. So I don't know how much assets they have in Nigeria. Sincerely, I personally believe that whatever assets they have in Nigeria definitely is not up to $9 billion. Definitely is not. So we are still well such. But all right, since we've decided to go to court to be able to challenge this, let's see how it pans out.
Sheson, this Nigerians, it has always been on record that when it comes to professionals who have the best of brains, Nigeria on the African continent, Nigeria can boast of all of that. Definitely. This is a product of thorough investigation, all the right lawyers and those who have the eagle eye to look at the details of all of those things. And right now, a lot of people say this is what should have even happened many years ago, that we wouldn't even have come to the table where we are trying to negotiate, to discuss, and then see how we can settle out of court.
Yeah, it's not about the issue of these professionals. They are there. Most of the time, some of this work are done and it died a natural death because the person you are making the report to possibly are part of the people that orchestrated the deal. So you see that thing dying a natural death before it goes to any level. So it's not, if you, I keep saying it, look at all the countries surrounding us. It's average Nigerians that go there and they become star. Go to United States, go to all this country. They are our professionals that lives here. Even our small students, they go to other countries and they perform wonderfully well. But the problem is that who do we have at the end of our affair of that particular thing that you are investigating? If they are part of the case, you cannot write a report that will indict them. Definitely, if they take decision on it, they will just floor it. This one we're trying to do now, it's not that, it's because this evil was not perpetrated by this government. We have some evil thing that some people are doing here that we are not seeing until when they lead. This calls for patriotism on the part of our leaders, people that are in place of power today, to make sure that they do something that will guarantee the future of the children unborn.
And even the future of the country.
Yeah.
All right. Sheson Kwade, thank you very much for coming on the program.
Thank you very much
and,
for having me.
Chris Kehinde-Nwandu, thank you very much for coming as well.
Thank you very much for having me.
The youngest lawyer.
Thanks for having me.
I can make some cases now with
Headlines in Nigerian newspapers. I have with me in the studio Chartered Accountant and Public Affairs Analyst Sheson Okwade and CEO CKN News Chris Kehinde-Nwandu, our baby lawyer. Thank you, gentlemen.
It's good to be here.
For coming on CBC Breakfast. Let's head straight to the papers now, and I begin with the Vanguard. On the front page of the Vanguard, P&ID Nigeria bids to quash $9.8 billion award in UK court. P&ID officials plead guilty to fraud charge. Court orders for feature of assets to Nigeria. Nigeria coercing false testimony from our associates. P&ID alleges Falana Hill's judgment. Nigeria's legal team meets in London. And on the front page of the blueprint, $9.6 billion. We are guilty. P&ID representatives. Court orders firm to forfeit assets to Nigeria. Nigeria now has proof of fraud, graft, Malami, trial illegitimate. And on the front page of News Direct, anti-smuggling initiatives. CBN releases 146 billion naira to 849,480 rice farmers in Emefiele. Partners Niger State on dairy. 14 governors pledge 100 hectares for palm oil. We'll be looking at that story shortly. And on the front page of the Daily Trust, how Buhari, Atiku, INEC spend billions at tribunal. We can defend our expenditure, APC. Battle for democracy doesn't come cheap, Atiku. Daily Times now, $9.6 billion judgment debt. Court orders for feature of P&ID's asset to federal government. Firm accused of economic sabotage, money laundering, tax evasion. Pleads guilty to all charges. To the Nation now, $9.6 billion judgment. Court liquidates P&ID affiliate. Firms forfeit assets to federal government. Nigeria gets advantage, says AGF. Legal battle in UK next week. And on the front page of the Daily Sun, federal government floors UK firm P&ID. Court orders for feature of assets to Nigeria for failing to pay tax. Officials plead guilty to economic sabotage charge. Well, gentlemen, let's look at this anti-smuggling initiative by the CBN on the front page of News Direct. The CBN says it has released 146 billion naira to over 800 farmers, so to speak. When you look at this, the amount spent so far, and you look at the situation on the ground, has it actually achieved the result, the release of this famine, when it comes to self-sufficiency in terms of rice, and has it checked rice smuggling? Well, before the closure of the borders, I must put that.
Well, to a large extent, I don't think it has. If it's checking the importation of rice, our consumption level, we still haven't locally, we would not be able to meet our consumption level in terms of production, and that is why you see smuggling striving. And apart from that, I also look at it from the point of, yes, a good initiative by the CBN, but when we talk about what kind of, who are those that were giving the loans? Because we should be talking of more of mechanized farming now.
Instead of subsistence.
Instead of subsistence, which is close to about 95% of what we are presently. If you go to developed worlds and other parts of the world, you will see that investment is always on mechanized farming. A situation where you see a farmer will take thousands and thousands of hectares of land and within days and this, you see the whole place, you see all sorts of crops and rest of it. But at the rate at which we are going presently, you still realize that
but the
most of them
CBN
are
cannot
not
do that alone. When it comes to farmland, the state governments are the ones that has to
we also
work
have the
in
BOI.
tandem
Don't
with
forget,
that.
we also have the BOI, not just the CBN.
Yes.
Okay, we also have the BOI that is also saddled with such responsibilities. Then the state government, just as you rightly said, also need to take that as part of it, because presently, as we have it, we still haven't met our desired, and that is why most often than not, you see the prices of food commodities fluctuating, going up and down, and the rest of them. Then with a high level of insecurity, especially within the North Central, where we're supposed to be the food basket, then we're having some shortfall, sort of. So they should continue to. But on a more serious note also, we also look at it from the point of the customs as well. If you see, I saw a trending video a few days ago where somebody was crying out and shouting that he had some bags of hundreds of bags, thousands of bags of rice, of locally made rice.
And no market to sell.
No. The custom went there and carted the whole thing locally.
Absolutely. Yes.
Locally made rice. So that should be investigated, because if you are encouraging them, if you're encouraging the farmers to invest more in the local production of rice, then why should anybody be going?
Why should the customs go to seize his goods?
Yes.
Sheson.
The issue of disbursing about 146 billion to 800 and something farmers. Who are the farmers? As far as we are concerned, we are not seeing that much impact. We were all aware when Lagos State had an handshake with Kebbi State
for Lake
Rice. I don't think so much money was disbursed. You see, any state that you're going to have this with, we must see the commitment of the governors. We want to...
How committed are the governors in this aspect?
That is why I'm saying that you've disbursed money, but we are not seeing the specific states that you are saying, okay, this certain number of people in this particular state, in Kebbi, there is an handshake between Ogun and this particular state. You are just giving us, as far as I'm concerned, this is like hypothetical figures, telling us 849 people. We are not getting the right value. When Lagos State did it with Kebbi, it was obvious. And I don't think CBN had they had the backing of CBN. But that was the commitment of two governors doing something together. And we saw Lagos State flooded with lake rice. They came with Lagos and Kebbi, and they named it lake rice. After then, we heard about Obiano when in his state producing the same thing. These are like two states we've heard about. And after those two governors exited, we've not had so much, but we've had CBN disbursing funds. These are part of the problem that we have about our country. We like disbursing funds without proper monitoring. And if there are no results, it's just going back to status quo.
So monitoring is the challenge here.
Yeah, of course, because if there are proper monitoring, like he said, we are still practicing substantive farming, not mechanized. So what are you investing in? Just giving people money to put in their pocket. You must invest in that. There are a lot of products that they brought out, several groups coming together, but we've not seen proper if it's something that is happening, I'm sure you guys will always view it for us to see. These things are not hidden, but majority of the people that are practicing farming, that this money has been disbursed to, are practicing subsistence farming and not mechanized. And with that, we can't go anywhere. What they should do first, rather than giving farmers money, is to mechanize it, make those tools, those machineries available for them to use. Even if you are not giving them money to get the crop and some other thing, you get the result. But you are giving them money. When you give some of these people money in the village, the next thing to do is to go and marry more wives. And you say you are investing in the farmers. So we must do proper monitoring, not giving individuals money, but mechanizing it. You can get like these machines available and said, okay, for these certain hectares of land, we have this, pick it up and get it resolved. Then you will get results rather than giving individuals money. That's just my challenge with
it.
Yes, I also think that, I don't know, I've not gotten the details, but most often than not, it is always good to have societies
Yeah.
Okay, it's rather than giving individuals, what you ask people to form cooperative societies so that proper money, so you can be able
They
to
can
reach
be properly monitored.
monitored and enough products are produced. That is my personal opinion than just
All right,
giving it to
CK,
individuals.
and thank you for your time
Thank you very
on
much.
TVC Breakfast, and thank you so much for coming as well.
Thank you.
And I have with me in the studio chartered accountant and public affairs analyst Sheson Okwade, as well as the CEO, CKN News, Chris Kehinde-Nwandu. Gentlemen,
Nice to be here.
welcome
Morning.
on a Friday morning.
Thank God it's Friday.
Thank God it's Friday.
Yeah.
All right. We have the youngest lawyer in the studio.
In the making.
Okay. Let's see. Let's start from the Vanguard newspaper now. P&ID Nigeria bids to quash 9.8 billion naira award in the UK court. And P&ID officials plead guilty to fraud charge. Court orders forfeiture of assets to Nigeria. And Nigeria coercing false testimony from our associates, P&ID alleges. And Falana Hill's judgment, Nigeria's legal team meets in London. Okay, that's what you see on the front page of the Vanguard. Now, Blueprint is next, and it focuses on the $9.6 billion. We are guilty. P&ID representatives saying that, and court orders firm to forfeit assets to Nigeria. And Nigeria now has proof of fraud, graft. That's the Minister of Justice saying that. Okay, News Direct is next now. And anti-smuggling initiatives, CBN releases 146 billion naira to over 846,000 rice farmers. As the CBN governor, Governor Emefiele, saying that. And the partners, Niger State on dairy, and 14 governors pledge 100,000 acres of land for oil palm cultivation. Okay, we'll be talking about this shortly on the News Direct. Now, we go to Daily Trust. Daily Trust now says how Buhari, Atiku, INEC spent billions at tribunal. We can defend our expenditure. APC is saying that battle for democracy doesn't come cheap. That is what Atiku is saying, is quoted of saying that. That's the Daily Trust. Okay. Moving from there now to Daily Times. Daily Times says $9.6 billion judgment debt. Court orders forfeiture of P&ID assets to federal government. Firm accused of economic sabotage, money laundering, tax evasion. Pleads guilty to all 11 count charges. The Nation is where we go now. Let's see what it says. It still dwells on the $9.6 billion judgment. Court liquidates P&ID affiliate. Firms forfeit assets to federal government. Nigeria gets advantage, says AGF. That's the Attorney General of the Federation. Legal battle in UK next week. All right, battle is still on. All right, now the Daily Sun is the last one this morning, and federal government floors UK firm P&ID. Court orders forfeiture of assets to Nigeria for failing to pay tax. Officials plead guilty to economic sabotage charge. Okay, that's what's on the Daily Sun. All right, gentlemen, I'd like us to dwell on this the story on the News Direct, which talks about anti-smuggling initiative. Right now, we know that the borders are closed for now, and so far, NNPC has said it has cut down on smuggling of petroleum products out of the country, and also the government is giving reasons why it is good for the country, and local industries, rice farmers are benefiting from this. And the headline on this on the News Direct now says CBN releases 146 billion naira to over 800,000 rice farmers. That's the CBN governor saying this. A lot of people say throwing monies at these initiatives is not the right way to go.
Yes.
CKN.
Yes, and that's what we're saying. Just throwing money at people and giving figures, at times some of these figures are not even substantiated. When you're talking about a whopping 846,000 farmers, rice farmers. That's close to 1 million farmers in Nigeria. I don't know where they got those figures, but we'll have to look at it from this perspective that most often than not, we've gone beyond peasant farming across the globe. That is, It's mechanized farming that is the in thing. You are talking of 846 or 49,000 people, subsistence farmers. That can be grouped into less than, in some countries, just about 100 farmers. 100 farmers, mechanized farmers, can feed a nation, okay, if they're properly equipped. We have the land. Mike, if you drive from Lagos through Benin, that expressway, passing through Shagamu, Ijebu, and go and see the expanse of land.
Beautiful.
Beautiful land. Wasting.
But we have rubber plantations.
Then we have rubber plantations and the rest of it. Then you now move to the east, then go to the north central, Benue and the rest of them. We have land. And at times I just look at it and say, how come this thing are just wasting? An average peasant farmer, how many hectares of land, hectares even, is not possible, because I know how it happens in my village, you know, but in Imo State, just a little farm, somebody just come up and. So what we're saying is that I think the risk sector, what they need to invest in is on the risk sector, by getting, especially if you can get cooperatives. Do you understand? In other countries, cooperatives is what is working on.
All right, now, Sheson, if you look at the headlines we're still looking at, the government is partnering Niger State on dairy, and then 14 governors pledge 100,000 hectare of land for palm oil. Now, it is also often said that the government doesn't have business in business. Now, they are calling for real private sector to be given all of these resources, and the rest to be history.
The private sector that we are talking about, you don't throw money at people and invite them to come and do business. Somebody must have passion for that thing. Once you have passion for it, because for every businesses there are challenges, you've got to face it. But when you have passion for it,
we have renowned organizations that own large expanse of farms in parts of Nasarawa State, in Edo State, in Benue State, even in Kebbi State.
Mike, the figure that we are given are not to organizations, but to individuals. So this is failure at the commencement of the program, because you can't do that. Like we keep telling them, what you need is mechanized farming. Ordinary, like CKN say, 100 mechanized farming will fuel the whole nation. But you are giving to 800, it's just like you are giving them a daily food money to just go and enjoy themselves. And when people, you are giving to a partisan farmer, like 300,000, the guy is just saying free and money to go and to go and just enjoy himself.
All right,
but if you are able to mechanize it, provide the machineries for people to get, we have, see, it's, I was in Israel sometimes ago, and we discovered that their land is very sandy, and they are getting agricultural things through irrigation. But here, drop a grain of a particular thing, leave it and go and come by itself. It will grow by itself. So why can't we capitalize on it?
And then there's the talk of taking advantage of the research institutes, the university
of Agriculture, yes.
And the rest of that. We have volumes. We have
all right, we have to leave it here now. So much to talk about when it comes to that aspect of things. Thank you very much for coming. And the youngest lawyer in town, CKN. Thank you so much. Thank God it's Friday. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.